Dear seeker, Paramhansa Yogananda beautifully reminded us that man is never truly alone. For within every heart dwells the eternal, loving presence of the divine. Yet, in the outer world of noise and constant activity, this quiet, sacred presence often goes unnoticed. The reason being alone matters is not to escape life or its responsibilities, but to create the inner space where the soul can breathe freely, where you can feel the gentle touch of spirit upon your heart. Our modern world is filled with endless distractions. From the moment we rise to the moment we rest, we are surrounded by sounds, sights, and restless thoughts. In such an environment, the deeper, more subtle voice of the infinite is drowned out by the clamor of daily life. Yogananda taught that it is only in the silence of solitude, in moments of quiet reflection, that one can hear the whisper of the soul, and through it, the voice of God. He often said, in his tender way, that when you are alone with yourself, you are, in truth, with the greatest company of all, your own immortal soul and the divine beloved within. In those sacred moments, the masks we wear before the world fall away. The roles of father, mother, son, daughter, worker, and friend dissolve, and you meet yourself as you truly are, an eternal, ever blissful child of God. It is in such sacred solitude that one begins to perceive the deeper purpose of life, beyond mere survival and worldly achievement. One begins to feel peace, clarity, and a sweet contentment that arises not from outer circumstances, but from within. And so, dear one, never fear solitude. For it is there, in being alone, that you shall discover your highest, most beautiful self. Dear seeker, in the gentle wisdom of Paramhansa Yogananda, we are reminded that man is never truly alone, for within each of us lives the eternal, loving presence of the divine. Yet, in our busy world, filled with constant movement, endless tasks, and restless thoughts, this sacred presence is often forgotten. The reason being alone matters so deeply is because it creates a quiet, sacred space where your soul can finally breathe, listen, and reconnect with its source. Yogananda lovingly explained that the world around us is filled with countless distractions. From the moment we awaken, our minds are pulled outward by the voices of people, the sounds of technology, and the constant demands of life. In this restless state, how can the subtle voice of God, which speaks in silence, be heard? That is why, dear one, the practice of being alone is not an escape from life, but a return to your true, eternal self. In moments of solitude, the outer world begins to fade, and you meet yourself, not as the roles you play for others, but as the timeless soul that you truly are. Yogananda would often retreat into silence, into nature, into quiet rooms where he could commune with the infinite beloved. He knew that in these sacred moments of aloneness, the heart becomes still, the mind quiets, and the presence of God, which is always within, begins to reveal itself. So, dear seeker, understand that the power of being alone lies in its ability to reconnect you with your soul's peace, joy, and wisdom. It is in solitude that you rediscover the eternal, unchanging spirit within, and with it, a calm strength that carries you through the world's storms with grace and light. Dear one, it is important to understand a truth that Paramhansa Yogananda often emphasized, the difference between loneliness and aloneness. Though they may seem similar on the surface, in the inner world of the soul, they are entirely different experiences. Loneliness is a painful emptiness, a feeling of being cut off from others, abandoned, or forgotten. It arises when the heart longs for outer company but finds none. It is a state of lack, of absence. But aloneness, dear seeker, is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is the joyful awareness of the divine presence within your own heart. Yogananda gently taught that when a person feels lonely, it is because they have forgotten their true, eternal companionship, the constant, silent presence of God, who walks beside us and dwells within us always. In contrast, when one embraces aloneness with love and understanding, solitude becomes a sacred time to draw closer to the divine, to listen to the quiet voice of the soul, and to experience peace beyond human words. In loneliness, you may feel disconnected from others, but in aloneness, you feel connected to everything, to nature, to the universe, and to God. Yogananda would say that a saint seated alone in a forest is never lonely, for within him radiates the bliss of the infinite spirit. The difference, dear one, lies not in the absence of people, but in the presence or absence of inner awareness. So whenever you find yourself alone, pause and shift your awareness inward. Instead of seeking outer company, seek the inner companion who waits lovingly in your heart. In this way, loneliness transforms into sacred aloneness, and that quiet moment becomes a doorway to divine peace, contentment, and everlasting joy. Dear seeker, Paramhansa Yogananda's life itself was a shining example of how a spiritual being embraces solitude, not as an escape from the world, but as a means to touch the eternal. From his earliest years as a young boy in India, Yogananda would often slip away from the busy streets of Calcutta to sit quietly by riversides, under trees, or in temple courtyards. In these simple places, away from the noise of the world, he discovered a peace and sweetness that words could not describe. Later, as he grew into a great yogi and spiritual teacher, Yogananda made it a sacred discipline to withdraw into solitude, even amidst his worldly duties. In his own words, he said, "In those blessed hours of solitude, I communed with the infinite friend. The world disappeared, and only the joy of spirit remained." Whether in Himalayan caves, quiet gardens, or his own meditation room, he sought moments of aloneness where his heart could sing to the divine without interruption. Yogananda also lovingly advised his students to create a little corner of solitude within their homes or within their hearts. He taught that one does not need distant mountains or forests to find God. Solitude, he would say, is not a place, it is a state of mind. Even in the busiest cities, even in the midst of family life, you can carve out moments to turn inward, to sit in silence, and feel the sacred presence within. So, dear one, remember, what Yogananda practiced and taught is within your reach too. Begin with simple, quiet moments alone, and you will find that in those moments, peace descends, and the loving presence of the divine softly enters your life. Dear one, Paramhansa Yogananda lovingly explained that the human mind is like a restless monkey, always jumping from one thought to another, never at peace. It is drunk with desires, constantly chasing after pleasures, fears, and memories. And as long as the mind remains tied to the restless world outside, the deeper, divine experiences of peace and joy remain hidden. This is why solitude holds such power. When you sit alone, without your usual distractions, the mind begins to reveal itself. At first, it may resist. Thoughts of past regrets, worries about the future, and old emotions may rise up like waves on the surface of a stormy ocean. Many seekers feel discouraged in these moments and wish to return to the noise of the world. But Yogananda taught that this is only the beginning of the soul's cleansing. He would say, "Dear one, persist. Be gentle with yourself. Watch the play of your thoughts without fear. Soon, like a storm passing over, the restless mind will quiet. In this sacred stillness, something beautiful begins to happen. You feel a lightness within. A calm presence starts to fill your heart. The endless chatter of the mind slows down, and for brief moments, you may glimpse a joy that has no outer cause. Yogananda lovingly reminded seekers that the deepest meditations, the sweetest inner peace, and the most profound spiritual insights often come in these moments of aloneness. Solitude clears the dust from the mirror of the mind, allowing the pure light of spirit to reflect through. So, dear seeker, when the mind rebels, smile softly, persist in your solitude, and know that beyond that initial restlessness lies a treasure of peace that the world cannot give. Dear seeker, Paramhansa Yogananda often reminded us that God speaks to the sincere devotee, not through loud voices or dramatic signs, but in the gentle, silent language of the heart. He would lovingly say, "The voice of God is silence." To hear Him, one must calm the storms of restlessness within. And it is in solitude, in the sacred moments of being alone, that this divine voice can finally be heard. When you sit quietly, free from outer distractions, and begin to turn your awareness inward, a shift slowly takes place. At first, you may only hear the thoughts of your busy mind, memories, plans, emotions. But beyond this restless surface lies a deeper, more peaceful space within you. Yogananda taught that in this stillness, the divine begins to whisper through intuition, a sudden understanding, a quiet comfort, a sense of being guided, though no words are spoken. He lovingly explained that the inner voice of God does not come in fear or confusion, but in calmness, clarity, and gentle assurance. It might appear as a subtle knowing, a peaceful feeling, or an unexpected joy that arises without reason. In those moments, you sense you are not alone. A loving, wise presence surrounds you and flows through you. Yogananda encouraged every seeker to trust these sacred whispers, for they come from the soul's direct connection with the infinite. No book, no teacher, no outer authority can replace this personal communion with God. It is your highest, most sacred relationship. So, dear one, cherish your moments of solitude. Listen deeply in silence, for the beloved calls to you there, softly but surely, inviting you to awaken to the eternal joy, wisdom, and love that has always lived within your own heart. Dear seeker, you may wonder, how can I begin to practice this beautiful art of solitude in my own life? Must I travel to a mountain, to a forest, or to a distant ashram? Paramhansa Yogananda lovingly assured us that you do not need to go anywhere. The truest solitude is found not in a place, but within your own heart. He would say, if you cannot find peace in the little room of your heart, you will not find it on mountain peaks. So begin where you are, dear one. Set aside just 10 minutes each day for yourself. Choose a quiet corner of your home, or a peaceful spot in nature if you can. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and simply observe your breath. Don't fight your thoughts, let them come and go like passing clouds in the sky. Inwardly whisper a simple prayer or thought, like, "Reveal thyself, O Spirit, within me." With time, you will notice a gentle calm entering your heart. Restlessness will soften, and moments of quiet joy will bloom within you. Yogananda encouraged seekers to make these daily moments of silence a sacred ritual, a meeting place between the soul and its beloved. Remember, dear friend, it is not about the number of hours, but the sincerity of your heart. Even a single, quiet moment filled with love for God is more valuable than 1,000 distracted hours. Each day you spend a few minutes alone with yourself, you step closer to the infinite peace, wisdom, and joy that your heart has longed for. So, begin today. The eternal friend awaits you in the silence of your soul. Seek him there, and you shall never feel alone again. Dear beautiful soul, as we come to the end of this sacred reflection, I hope you now understand that the secret of being alone is not about escaping from people or the duties of life. It is about reconnecting with the eternal presence that has always lived within you. Paramhansa Yogananda lovingly reminded us that no matter where you are or what your circumstances may be, you carry within you a sanctuary of peace, a sacred inner temple where the divine patiently waits for your attention. In those precious moments of aloneness, you do not lose the world, you find your soul. If this message has touched your heart today, I invite you to take a small, beautiful step on your own path. Find just a few minutes of quiet time today to sit in stillness, close your eyes, and simply feel the breath of life moving through you. In that silent space, whisper a prayer or call out to the divine friend within. You may be surprised at how quickly peace answers you. And dear one, I would love to hear from you. In the comments below, share with me your thoughts about this message. Have you ever experienced a moment of sacred solitude? How did it feel? Or are you inspired to begin this practice today? Type, I choose sacred aloneness, if you are ready to embrace this beautiful journey inward. If you found peace in these words, kindly like this video and subscribe for more spiritual messages drawn from the timeless wisdom of the Masters. Until we meet again, may divine peace, joy, and light forever shine upon your path. Jai Gurudev.